So endometriosis, it is a common and chronic conditions where tissues that is similar to the lining of the uterus is found outside the uterus. It is debilitating for some women. It causes painful periods, pelvic pain. The other thing also is that it is relatively common in Australia. So we have shown that 1 in 7 women will experience endometriosis or be diagnosed with endometriosis before her 50th birthday.
And how great then is the risk of early menopause for women with endometriosis? What have you found?
So what we found is that women who've had endometriosis, she's 7 times more likely to have surgical menopause. And surgical menopause is when ovaries have been removed, both ovaries have been removed. So when that happens, when both ovaries are removed, the woman enters into menopause right away. She may start experiencing the symptoms of menopause, such as hot flashes and night sweats. So we found that she's, at a higher risk of getting surgical menopause. We also found that she will experience surgical menopause a lot earlier, so in about 19 months earlier than other women. So that's the risk of surgical menopause. Now, if her ovaries are still intact, which means that she's not, there's no risk of surgical menopause. The other type of menopause is natural menopause, which all women go through because it's an aging process and where the ovaries runs out of eggs. In that case, women also experience earlier menopause if she's had endometriosis. And we found after adjusting for a whole bunch of factors, she's more likely to have experienced earlier menopause about 5 months earlier than other women without endometriosis.
Okay. And what about the symptoms of menopause then? Are they more severe for women who have had endometriosis?
This is a really good question because we actually don't know. And that's something we want to really look into. The thing is that a lot of the research that's been done on endometriosis, there's been a lot of work done on why women have endometriosis, still lots of work to do in that space. The association with endometriosis with other symptoms, such as, menstrual symptoms, headaches, migraine, and so forth. So there's a lot of work that's been done, and also in infertility. But really limited work has been done on how endometriosis affects reproductive aging, which is menopause, right? And so this is one of the first study to really look at what happens to women who've had endometriosis. How do they age in terms of their reproductive aging? How does it affect the timing and the type of menopause? And obviously, the next stage for us is to see whether these women report a more severe vasomotor symptoms, that is hot flashes and night sweats. Haven't done, that sort of work we need to be doing because the emphasis with endometriosis has always been on the younger women, but limited work has been done on what happens to them as they age.
Okay, because there are health risks associated with early menopause, aren't there?
Absolutely. So we do know that women who've had earlier menopause, whether it's via surgical menopause or natural menopause, they're at an increased risk of cardiovascular disease. We also know that they're at an increase of osteoporosis. So it is important to understand how endometriosis affects biological aging because it has consequences in terms of how we manage.
And Misha, finally, what's the advice for younger women with endometriosis as they look ahead to menopause later?
I think that it is absolutely important for younger women to be aware that they may be at risk of earlier menopause and hence they may be at risk of cardiovascular diseases later on. So it is important that they monitor their health, talk to their doctors, and most importantly, have a healthy lifestyle.
Professor Geeta Mishra, thank you so much.
Thank you.